Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Minister Moments podcast, and welcome to Minister Moments YouTube. Also, you can go there and solvechurchproblems.com and subscribe to those in those places. That way, you'll get this every week, even if you're out of pocket and you're not able to be around at 3 o'clock Central Time on Friday. We'll be able to meet with you at your convenience. Aren't you glad about that? I want to talk to you about today inspiring people, motivating people, getting people involved, and see if I can't give you some thoughts that maybe might be of help to you. Number one, the internal is fueled by the external. The internal is fueled by the external. I would read about the day of Pentecost. I would read about the soul winning of the church of Acts and all the greatness and the power of God coming down. But when I went to a sword conference and heard Dr. Rice, Dr. Hiles, I thought, wow. Then I went to visit a Sunday night at First Baptist Church of Hammond. I went, wow. I heard Jim Binyard teach and preach on the bus ministry in Faith Baptist Church, Matawan, Michigan. And I went, wow. And I was inspired, and it was fueled. It was internal, and there was no putting it out. Truth, you may acknowledge truth. You may know truth. You may be able to explain truth. But unless truth's ever got a hold of you and set a fire in your bosom, it is going to be of none effect. Used to have, when I lived in Michigan as a kid, my bedroom was an add-on. It was I was an old farmhouse. It was an add-on. And I had a little cot in the back, had a wall, door there. And the only thing I had for heat, nothing for air conditioning, we didn't know what that was, but a potbelly stove. And I remember my daddy said, if you want heat, it's up to you. You fuel that thing, you stir that thing, you keep it. That's up to you now. That's your part of the house. And boy, I learned to cross that linoleum floor without touching it to get to that potbelly stove outside that little cubby hole I had. And I fueled that fire, buddy. I put logs on it. And when the Bible says, stir up the gift of God that's in thee, speaking of the Holy Ghost of God. Brother House used to say, you'll not have chapel. You're going to be out. It's a jungle out there, and you're going to be out there. You better learn to stir up the gift of God yourself. And Paul talking to Timothy, young preacher, said, you're not going to have me around. You're going to have to stir yourself up. So the internal is fueled by the external. And you come in contact with great men of God who did great works without compromise, but it'll fuel you. Number two, inspiration requires an example. I guess I've already said that, hadn't I? Inspiration requires an example. So if you want to inspire people, you better provide the example that will inspire those people. Magnified men are men who magnified God. God magnified them because they magnified him. And so your example ought to be such that someone looking at you say, I'd like to do that. In fact, I think I can do that. Curtis Hudson went to a little sword conference in Atlanta. He was a postman, and he went in during the day with his postal outfit on, sat in the back. And Brother House told me later, he said it was one of the worst sword conferences we ever had. We thought we barely had enough money to get home on. And Curtis Hudson told me, he said, I was sitting in the back of the house screaming, somebody, and shaking that pulpit, somebody ought to win Atlanta. Somebody ought to win Atlanta. Somebody. And he said, I said to myself, you sit down and shut up, I'll win Atlanta to Christ. And Curtis Hudson did. He had the largest church in Georgia for a long time. I said, what? The internal is fueled by the external. Number two, inspiration requires an example. Number three, inspiration is sustained by exhortation. Inspiration is sustained by exhortation. Do it, and then talk about it. Do it, and then encourage others to do it. Say, look, it can be done. Let's work together to get it done again and again and again. Brother House proved that Pentecost could happen again, and it did happen several times after he was attacked, by the way, viciously attacked. But inspiration is sustained by exhortation. There's got to be that example. And then there's got to be the exhortation of pressure. You say, pressure's bad. No, it's not. Blood pressure is good. Water pressure is good. Try taking a shower or fill up a tub when you ain't got any water pressure. It's all good. And sometimes, well, I don't know want to know what the people are giving. You know how stupid that is. I'm sorry. You know how dumb that is. That's like a doctor saying, okay, we're going to have a physical exam, but I'm not going to look at your blood pressure because I don't have, I'm going to be prejudiced. I'm going to be prejudiced toward you. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. You need to know the vitals. All right. So we're talking about inspiring people. One, the internal is fueled by the external. So look for the right external. Don't chase somebody who's anti-Jack Hyles. Any man of God who will say, don't mention Jack Hyles' name at this church. And don't make efforts to it. You run for the nearest exit and get out of there as fast as you can. Number 4, have a fresh view of the old. I mentioned last week, Brother House had 12 topics. He visited them over and over again. He was magnificent. It was fresh. It was fresh, but he had a fresh view of the old. Number 5, do not live off of the variety of the new. Don't get started there. Don't always look for something new. Don't do that. You keep that soul winning going. You keep the standards separation from the world going. Don't you let up a lick, and don't you even put a little crack in that door against fundamentalism and against standards and separation, or your women are going to run around in those yoga pants. And I'm telling you something right now, buddy. Somebody is going to tag them. The EPA is going to get a hold of them. And you don't hold your ground and see what happens to your own kids and your own grandkids. Number 6. Supplement, do not substitute. Supplement, do not substitute. Brother House said about the clinic, he said, Brother Gray, pastor school did this, but you've added to it. You've added to it. And he said, I'm grateful. He would sit in those sessions that I would teach. He would sit in there. And he encouraged me. That soul winning clinic is needed because he said, again, it's not substituting, but supplementing. Used to be when I traveled in the early days, they would talk about missions. That's it, boy. Then the next year I'd go around and they'd talk about a bus ministry. That's it. And next year it'd be something else. Bill Gothard seminars. It just constantly always something, looking for that one thing that'll push them over the edge, and get greatness done. But it doesn't work that way. Tom Malone stuck by the old King James Bible, go to church to 5,000. That ain't bad. Curtis Hudson stuck by the old King James Bible, and it's separation. And Jack Hyles stood for separation. Lee Robertson, on and on I could go. And I'm just saying to you, work that. So you don't need to substitute anything and supplement. And you guard it's not fair for somebody to die that does great work and somebody just smear it and doesn't even know them. I mean, you're 22 years of age. Shoot, you haven't got the foggiest idea what Jack Hyles was like, or Lee Robertson, or Lester Roloff. You have no idea. You just live off you like the salaciousness of the bad, don't you? Inspiring people. Internal is fueled by the external. Inspiration requires an example. Inspiration is sustained by exhortation. Have a fresh view of the old. Do not live off of the variety of the new. Supplement, do not substitute. And inspire by doing yourself. Inspire yourself by doing. So inspire by doing. You do it every Sunday night. I was so hyper. I was so excited. Can you imagine last year, we baptized 4,464 people. Man, and I was allowed 153, God allowed me to have down now. Oh, it's Sunday night. I was so excited. I couldn't sleep. I had to get up 3 o'clock, catch a plane, go somewhere to preach. I just rehearsed what happened there today. I was so excited, just so excited. So you get the thing rolling by doing, and then you get it rolling by doing. And inspiration, boy, you lay your head back and wow, that was great. Last point, aren't you proud of me? Like that fat woman, we're going to eat that barbed wire fence. A few more points and we'll be through. Number 8, inspiration sometimes attract, no, don't miss this. Inspiration sometimes attracts failures. Do not listen to them or let them influence you. Sometimes inspiration, you'll have people join your church that are not for what you're doing, but you don't know it. But they love the fruit of it. They love the fruit of it. They love it. They love it. They love it. I'll tell you this story and I'll quit. My wife and I went to, I better not say the state, went to a mountain region Guy picked us up at the airport. And I said, can we have lunch? And I said, sure. And he said to me, Brother Gray, tonight, you're going to see what really is needed to reach America. And he said, now, I'll tell you now what it is, but I'll tell you tonight, you'll see it. You will see it with your own eyes. And it's much better than the way you're doing it, really. Yeah, he said, just that way. I said, well, man, I'm really anxious now. Went to church that night. I'm sitting on the platform. He gets up and he whispered to me, he said, no, Brother Gray, you'll see what I'm talking about here. He said, how many were street preaching today? He had 6 men. They raised their hands. He said, all right, let's start over here. How many did you have saved? 0. Next one. How many did you have saved? 0. All 6 of them had goose eggs. and he sat down. He said, well, we had off there a little. I said, soul we're going to beat this anytime. Just everybody winning soul. There are more people out here that didn't go street preaching. It could have led somebody to Christ. If half of them had led somebody to Christ, it make a difference. Now, soul winning. First, going to all the world, preach the gospel to every creature, one at a time. Now, I'm just saying to you, be careful, because there'll be people trying to whisper in your ear and try to draw you off of it. Don't you listen to them. There are conferences you ought to go to. You ought to go to the Old Pass Conference in Bethany, Oklahoma, Pastor Alan Donald. You ought to go to Jacksonville to Emmanuel Baptist Church in the Preacher's Delight Conference. I know for a fact the way that it's to be done and has been done will be taught to you on how to do it. Well, this is inspiring people topic. I hope you're not uninspired. If we have Ministry Moments podcast, Ministry Moments YouTube, and go to Bob Gray Sr. and subscribe. You can go to softchurchprophets.com and subscribe there. God bless you. Inspiring people. Now let's get with it tomorrow. Let's do something that will inspire others. Soul winning tomorrow. Preparation day for the Lord's Day, Sunday. And get your guests lined up, your converts lined up, pick them up Sunday morning. And church starts at Sunday school. Have a great weekend.